My wife said, "You're just the brewmaster, babe. I handle the real business," 6 months ago when I questioned why our profits looked low. So I hired a forensic accountant. What happened next destroyed our marriage. I'm writing this at 2 a.m. because I can't sleep and need to get this out before I lose my mind. I met Sarah 7 years ago through mutual friends. She was getting her MBA. I was working as an assistant brewer at a local craft brewery. We clicked instantly. She was smart, ambitious, driven. I was the creative one who loved the craft. She was the business brain. Perfect partnership, right? 3 years into dating, we got married. 2 years after that, we opened our own brewery. I handled all the brewing, recipe development, quality control, the stuff I'm actually good at. Sarah handled everything else. Finances, marketing, vendor relationships, permits, the business side. Made sense. We took out a small business loan, got some investor money from her college friend Kurt, who became a silent partner with 20% equity, and launched. The brewery did well, really well. We were in the black by month 8, had a loyal customer base, got picked up by 3 local restaurant chains. I was proud as hell. Our tap room was packed most weekends. I'd work 70-hour weeks perfecting recipes, and Sarah would handle the books, close us out at night, do all the banking. About a year ago, I started noticing things felt off. We were busier than ever, selling more beer, but Sarah kept saying we needed to tighten our belts personally. No vacations, no house upgrades, nothing. I trusted her. She's the one with the business degree, right? I'm just the guy who knows hops and yeast. 6 months ago, I asked to see our profit and loss statements, just curious how we were doing. Sarah got defensive immediately. "Why, don't you trust me? I just want to understand the business better." "You're the brewmaster, babe. I handle the real business. You wouldn't even understand half of what you're looking at." That comment sat wrong with me, really wrong, but I let it go. I didn't want to seem insecure or like I was questioning her abilities. Then last month, Kurt called me, our silent partner, the guy who invested his money and barely ever checked in. "Hey man, weird question, did we issue bonuses this quarter? I saw a distribution listed on the quarterly report Sarah sent." I had no idea what he was talking about. We'd never discussed bonuses. I told him I'd check with Sarah. When I asked her, she laughed it off. "Just an accounting thing, reconciling some expenses. Don't worry about it." But Kurt's call bothered me, so I logged into our business bank account. Sarah had always handled that, but technically we were both authorized signers. I just never used my login. What I found made me physically sick. Regular transfers to an account I didn't recognize. $2,000 here, $3,500 there, $5,000 that one time. Over the past 18 months, roughly $87,000 had been transferred out of our business account to this mystery account. I sat in my car in the brewery parking lot, hands shaking, trying to make sense of it. My first thought was embezzlement by an employee. My second thought was fraud. Someone had gotten our account information. My third thought, the one I didn't want to believe, Sarah. I called the bank, asked about the mystery account. They couldn't give me details over the phone, but they confirmed the transfers were initiated from our business account, using Sarah's login credentials, to an account under the name SGM Consulting LLC. Sarah's initials are SGM, Sarah Grace Morrison. I thought I was dealing with an affair. I was wrong. While trying to find out more about this consulting company, I checked our business license database and corporate registrations. SGM Consulting LLC was registered 2 months before we opened the brewery. Owner, Sarah Morrison. Registered business address, a UPS store mailbox 3 towns over. This wasn't about another person. This was about something much worse. My wife had created a fake consulting company and had been systematically draining our business from day one. Update 1. Holy shit, Reddit. Thank you for all the support on my original post. A lot of you told me to lawyer up immediately and get a forensic accountant. I did both. What they found. I need to sit down just to type this. First, I didn't confront Sarah right away. Several lawyers told me the same thing. Gather evidence first, confront later. If she knew I was onto her, she could destroy records, move money, or create a narrative that would be harder to fight. So I played dumb. Came home every night, kissed my wife, asked about her day, pretended everything was normal. It was the hardest 2 weeks of my life. Every time she touched me, I felt sick. Every time she talked about our future or our business, I wanted to scream. But I needed the truth first. The forensic accountant I hired, let's call him David, is a former IRS investigator. He came highly recommended by my lawyer. I gave him access to everything: bank statements, QuickBooks files, vendor contracts, tax returns. Then I got out of his way and let him work. 3 days ago, David called me. We need to meet, and you're going to want to sit down for this. We met at a coffee shop far from the brewery. David opened his laptop and showed me a spreadsheet that made my stomach drop. The $87,000 I'd found. That was just the beginning. Over the past 5 years, basically since we opened, Sarah had systematically stolen approximately $340,000 from our business. Let me break down her methods because honestly, it was almost impressive in its calculation. 1. The consulting company. SGM Consulting billed our brewery $2,000 to $5,000 monthly for business consulting services. Services that never existed. She'd create fake invoices, approve them herself, and transfer the money. 2. Vendor kickbacks. She'd inflate vendor invoices by 10 to 20%, pay the vendor the correct amount, and pocket the difference. She had a deal with at least 3 vendors who were in on it. 3. Cash skimming. Our taproom does decent cash business on weekends. She'd been skimming roughly 15% of cash sales before they ever hit the books. 4. Fake employees. She'd run payroll for 2 part-time employees who didn't exist. The paychecks went to accounts she controlled. 5. Personal expenses. She'd been running personal expenses through the business: her car payment, her gym membership, her shopping trips, all categorized as business development or marketing expenses. David estimated that without this theft, our business would be worth about $500,000 more than it currently is. We could have paid off our business loan. We could have expanded. We could have actually had the money Sarah kept saying we didn't have. There's one more thing, David said, pulling up an email chain he'd found in our business email archive. It was correspondence between Sarah and Kurt, our silent partner, from before we got married, before we even decided to open a brewery. I read through the emails with growing horror. Sarah, he's perfect, passionate about brewing, completely uninterested in the business side. Once we're married and open the brewery, he'll never look at the books. Kurt: and you're sure he won't catch on, Sarah? Brewers are artists, not accountants. As long as the beer is good and he feels important, he won't question anything. They'd been planning this from the beginning. The romance, the marriage, the brewery, it was all a long con. Kurt wasn't a silent partner. He was Sarah's accomplice and boyfriend. They'd been together since college, apparently, never broke up. I was the mark who would legitimize the business and provide the technical skill while they drained it dry. The forensic accountant found Venmo transactions between Sarah and Kurt going back years. Romantic messages. Photos of them together at conferences I thought Sarah was attending alone. Hotel receipts. I sat in that coffee shop and felt my entire reality collapse. Our whole relationship was a lie. Every "I love you," every plan we made, every dream we shared, it was all part of the con. David asked if I was okay. I wasn't, but I told him to finish the report and send it to my lawyer. That night I came home to Sarah cooking dinner like nothing was wrong. She smiled at me, asked about my day, kissed my cheek. "How's my favorite Brewmaster?" she asked. I looked at her and saw a stranger. "Good," I managed. "Long day, I'm gonna take a shower." I stood under the water and tried not to throw up. My lawyer said we have enough for criminal charges: fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy. But first, we need to secure our evidence and protect the business. Tomorrow, I'm calling an emergency board meeting. Kurt doesn't know I know yet. Neither does Sarah. I'll update when I can. Edit: a lot of you are asking why I haven't kicked her out yet. My lawyer explicitly told me not to change anything in my personal life until we've secured the business assets and filed the appropriate legal documents. If I tip her off, she could move money, destroy evidence, or create legal complications. I have to pretend everything is normal for just a little longer. Update 2. I'm shaking as I type this. What happened today was beyond anything I could have imagined. The emergency board meeting was yesterday, Just me, my lawyer, the forensic accountant, and Kurt. We laid it all out. Showed him the spreadsheets, the fake consulting company, the email chain between him and Sarah planning the whole thing from the beginning. Kurt went white, then red. Then he did something I didn't expect. He pulled out his own folder of documents. "I was wondering when you'd figure it out," he said quietly. Turns out, Kurt had figured out Sarah was scamming me about 6 months ago. He'd noticed irregularities in the quarterly reports and started his own investigation. He discovered the fake consulting company, the inflated invoices, all of it. But he hadn't been in on it. Those emails David found. They were from 7 years ago, before Kurt and Sarah had a falling out over, get this, her cheating on him with multiple people, including me. Sarah had told Kurt I was just a fling to make him jealous. Then she'd convinced him to invest in the brewery by promising they'd get back together after she was done with me. Kurt agreed because he was still in love with her. But Kurt later realized Sarah had never intended to leave me. She was just using both of us. She'd been taking his money and draining the business, planning to eventually disappear with everything. Kurt had been quietly documenting everything, trying to figure out how to expose her without destroying the business or losing his investment. "I didn't know if you were in on it too," Kurt admitted. "I thought maybe you two were running a con on me." We sat there, two guys who'd both been played by the same woman, staring at each other across a conference table. My lawyer cleared his throat. "Gentlemen, I think we have a case for both criminal charges and a civil lawsuit. The question is whether you want to pursue them jointly." We decided to combine our evidence and present everything to the authorities. That was yesterday afternoon. This morning, Sarah came into the brewery around 10 a.m. I was in the back working on a new IPA recipe, trying to keep my hands busy so I wouldn't lose my mind. She walked right up to me and I knew immediately that she knew. "We need to talk," she said, her voice ice cold. I followed her into the office. She closed the door. "I got a very interesting call from Kurt this morning," she started. "Apparently you two have been comparing notes." "Yeah," I said, "we have." "You went through the business accounts without telling me. It's my business too. And you hired a forensic accountant to investigate your own wife. I hired someone to investigate fraud. The fact that it's you is just unfortunate," she laughed, actually laughed. "Unfortunate, that's cute." Then she sat down at my desk, and pulled up something on the computer. "Here's what's going to happen," she said calmly. "You're going to drop whatever investigation you think you have. You're going to tell Kurt to back off. And you're going to sign these papers I've had drawn up giving me full control of the brewery." I stared at her. "Why the hell would I do that?" She turned the computer screen toward me. It showed our business banking system, logged into my account. "Because I've spent the last 2 months creating a very detailed paper trail that shows you are the one who's been embezzling. Transfers initiated from your login, emails sent from your account, records showing you created SGM Consulting, all time stamped and documented." My blood went cold. "I've been doing this a long time, babe," she said, using the pet name like a weapon. "You think you're the first mark I've run this on? I'm always 3 steps ahead. You go to the cops, they'll arrest you, not me. I'll play the shocked, betrayed wife. I'll cry on the witness stand about how I trusted you with our business and you stole from us." The forensic accountant, I tried, but she cut me off. "Found evidence I carefully planted. When did you hire him?" 2 weeks ago. I've had months to prepare for this possibility." She stood up, walked over to me, put her hand on my chest like she'd done 1,000 times before. "Sign the papers, walk away, keep your freedom, or fight me and go to prison while I keep everything anyway." I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw absolutely nothing. No love, no regret, no humanity, just cold calculation. "I need time to think," I said. "You have 24 hours, she replied. "Choose wisely." She left the office. I heard her car start in the parking lot. I immediately called my lawyer. Here's where it gets interesting. My lawyer conferenced in David, the forensic accountant. I explained what Sarah had just told me. David laughed, actually laughed out loud. "She's bluffing," he said. "I've seen this before. She thinks she's smart, but she doesn't understand forensic accounting." He explained, "Every digital action leaves metadata. Login times, IP addresses, device fingerprints. Sarah could create fake transactions from my account, but she couldn't fake the fact that they were all initiated from her laptop, from her IP address, often at times when I was verifiably at the brewery or somewhere else with witnesses. Moreover, the forensic audit had already established a pattern timeline. Sarah's fake evidence would have been created recently in the last 2 months, while the real fraud went back years. Any investigator would immediately see that someone had tried to create a false trail retroactively. She's counting on you being scared and uninformed, David said. But her bluff is actually going to make the criminal case against her stronger, attempting to frame you as witness intimidation and obstruction of justice. My lawyer was already drafting a motion for an emergency restraining order preventing Sarah from accessing any business accounts or assets, but we needed to move fast. If Sarah realized her bluff didn't work, she might try something more drastic. The lawyer advised me to go home, act normal, and tell Sarah I was considering her offer. Meanwhile, they'd file everything with the court and the DA's office in the morning. I drove home that evening feeling sick. Sarah was making dinner again, humming to herself, completely confident in her plan. "Made your favorite," she said sweetly. "Figured you'd need some comfort food while you think things over." I looked at the woman I'd married, the woman who'd shared my bed for 5 years, and felt nothing but disgust. "Thanks," I said. "I'm not really hungry though. Long day." "Understandable," she said. "Big decision to make." She actually winked at me. Winked. I went to our bedroom, closed the door, and texted my lawyer, "Move forward with everything tomorrow morning." I didn't sleep that night. Just lay there, listening to Sarah breathe beside me, counting down the hours until I could end this nightmare. The court filings went through at 8 a.m. By 9 a.m., Sarah's access to all business accounts was frozen. By 10 a.m., the DA's office had issued a warrant for her arrest on charges of fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy. By 11 a.m., 2 police officers were at our door. I was at the brewery when I got the call from my lawyer. "It's done. She's been arrested." I sat down on the floor of the brewery, the place we'd built together, the dream that had been poisoned from the start, and cried. Not because I still loved her, but because I'd lost 5 years of my life to someone who'd seen me as nothing but a tool to be used and discarded. Edit. Sarah made bail. Her family put up their house. She's not allowed to contact me or Kurt or come within 500 feet of the brewery. Trial is set for 3 months from now. Edit 2. Kurt and I had a long conversation. We were both victims here. We're working together to save the brewery and rebuild it the right way. Turns out he's actually a decent guy who just made the mistake of falling for the wrong woman. Same as me. Final update. I wasn't sure I'd write this final update, but a lot of you have been asking, and honestly, I think I need to write this for myself as much as for anyone else. The trial was last month. Sarah pled guilty to multiple counts of fraud and embezzlement. She's going to serve 18 to 24 months in federal prison, followed by probation and restitution payments. But that's not even the craziest part. During the investigation, the DA's office found something that made this whole thing even bigger than we thought. They discovered that I wasn't Sarah's first victim. I wasn't even her second. There were 5 of us. The DA tracked down 4 other men Sarah had run similar cons on over the past decade. Each relationship followed the same pattern: romance, marriage, or business partnership, systematic theft disguised as legitimate business expenses, and then either a quiet disappearance or, in 2 cases, attempts to frame the victim for the theft when they got suspicious. One guy lost his entire savings, about $200,000, to a joint investment that never existed. Another lost his food truck business. A third guy had his credit destroyed and nearly went to prison before a smart lawyer figured out what was happening. The DA wanted all of us to testify. I was the only one who agreed. I understand why the others didn't want to, reliving that trauma in public, being cross-examined, having your poor judgment put on display. But I needed to face her. The day I testified, I walked into that courtroom and saw Sarah sitting at the defense table in a conservative dress and minimal makeup, playing the role of the remorseful defendant. When she saw me, her expression didn't change. Not a flicker of guilt or recognition or anything human. I told the truth. All of it. The fake consulting company, the emails with Kurt, the 5 years of systematic theft, the attempted frame-up. Her lawyer tried to paint me as a vengeful ex-husband, but the forensic evidence was overwhelming. After I testified, the prosecution brought in the forensic accountant, who methodically destroyed every aspect of Sarah's defense. Then they brought in 2 of the other victims who were willing to give statements, not full testimony, just victim impact statements. Sarah's lawyer tried to negotiate a plea deal mid-trial. That's when she finally accepted that she'd lost. The sentencing hearing was 2 weeks ago. The judge didn't hold back. "Ms. Morrison, you are a predator. You systematically targeted trusting individuals, exploited their love and trust, and destroyed their financial security and emotional well-being for your own gain. This was not a crime of passion or desperation. This was calculated, methodical theft carried out over years with no remorse. 18 or 24 months. Restitution of $340,000 to me and the brewery, plus amounts to the other victims. Her wages will be garnished for the rest of her life if necessary. She'll be out in less than 2 years. That bothers me, but at least there's a record now. The next guy she targets, because I have no illusions that she's learned anything, will be able to Google her name and see what she is. Now for the part that actually matters, moving forward. The brewery is recovering. Kurt and I restructured everything. He took a more active role. I brought in a trustworthy bookkeeper, recommended by my lawyer, bonded and insured, and we implemented financial controls that make it impossible for any one person to move money without oversight. We're actually profitable now. Turns out when you're not bleeding $340,000 over 5 years, you do pretty well. Kurt and I have become genuine friends. We grab beers after work about how we both got played by the same woman. There's something darkly funny about it now, though it took months to get to the point where we could laugh. "We have terrible taste in women," Kurt said last week. "Had," I corrected. Past tense. We're learning. I'm not dating yet, not even close to ready, but I'm not opposed to it eventually. I just need to rebuild my ability to trust first. The brewery is launching a new flagship IPA next month. We're calling it Fresh Start. It's the first recipe I've developed entirely post-Sarah, and it's the best thing I've ever made. To answer the question I know people will ask, do I regret the 5 years with Sarah? Honestly, yeah, I do. Not because of the money we'll recover financially, but because I gave 5 years of genuine love and partnership to someone who was incapable of giving anything real back. That's time I'll never get back. But I also learned who I am in crisis. I learned what I'm capable of when everything falls apart. I learned that I can survive betrayal and come out the other side. The brewery is thriving. I'm healing. Sarah is in prison. Kurt and I are building something real this time with transparency and trust. I still wake up some mornings and can't believe this was my life. That the woman I married, the person I planned a future with, was running a con the entire time. But then I get up, go to the brewery and make beer. And slowly, very slowly, that starts to feel like enough. Thanks, Reddit, for being here through all of this. Reading your comments, knowing I wasn't alone or crazy, helped more than you know. The roast wasn't a joke, it was the mask coming off. I'm moving forward, finally. Edit. A lot of people are asking about Sarah's family. They were shocked. Her parents have been apologetic and actually helped with some of the restitution. Apparently she'd been lying to them about everything too. They thought we were struggling financially because of my poor business decisions. They had no idea. My wife said I was too emotionally unavailable. So I hired a pie and had coffee with her affair partner's wife instead. Throwaway for obvious reasons. Never thought I'd be here. My wife told me I was too emotionally unavailable to make her happy. So I stayed quiet, hired a pie, and had coffee with her affair partner's wife. Now we're both divorced and they're scrambling. I'm Cole, 42, male, aerospace engineer at Boeing Seattle facility. Married to Kendra, 39, female, for 11 years. No kids, she always said not yet. 3 weeks ago everything changed. Small things first. Kendra started hitting the gym at 6 a.m. She's never been a morning person. New clothes from Nordstrom, receipts hidden. Coming home from work dinners smelling like cologne I don't wear. Phone surgically attached to her hand, always face down. I'm an engineer. I notice when variables change. 2 weeks ago, while putting her jacket away, a receipt fell out. The Fairmont Olympic Hotel, downtown Seattle. We hadn't stayed there. I checked our cards, nothing, so she paid cash. I didn't confront her. My dad left when I was 14. Watching my mom break taught me that emotional reactions give people power. They see you break, they make it about your reaction instead of their betrayal. So I hired a pie. $3,000. He came back with photos. Kendra with some guy at a wine bar in Bellevue. Same guy at condo building, kissing in his car at her office parking garage. Trevor Hastings, 48, high-end real estate developer. Married 19 years to Paige, 2 kids in college. I've been staying at my apartment near the facility for 2 weeks now. Early shifts, I told Kendra. Truth is, I can't sleep next to someone who lies that easily. I called a divorce attorney, started documenting everything. Screenshots, credit card statements, hotel charges. Washington's no fault, but documentation helps. Haven't told Kendra I know. We still talk, surface stuff. How's work? Fine, new aircraft specs. She tells me about marketing campaigns. I nod. We're roommates performing a marriage. I looked up Trevor online. Successful, philanthropist, arts board member. His wife Paige used to be an investigative journalist for the Seattle Times. Brilliant stuff, political corruption, corporate crime. Then nothing after 2010. She just vanished from journalism. Reading her old articles, I felt something. This woman was fearless, passionate with what she did. Then she just stopped. I wondered if Trevor had something to do with that. Kendra's sister called yesterday. Kendra seems really happy lately. Like glowing. Yeah, I bet. The attention from a married developer will do that. What crushes me isn't even the sex, it's the lying. Every morning she kissed me, said she loved me. Every Sunday we'd have coffee, read the paper, laugh. I thought we were us. Turns out she was already gone. I'm not a crier, haven't cried since Mom died at 26. But 2 nights ago I sat in my car at Boeing, 11 p.m. just sat there, empty. Paperwork's ready Friday. That's when I tell Kendra. That's when I hand her divorce docs and she realizes I've been 3 steps ahead this whole time. She'll be shocked, maybe cry, maybe get defensive, blame me for driving her to this. Won't matter. I'll have the high ground, clean break, 50-50 split, I keep the house. Part of me wonders if I should feel angrier, more betrayed. Mostly I just feel tired, tired of pretending, tired of performing. I know this is unconventional, but I'm not the guy who explodes. I'm the guy who plans ahead. I'm the guy who doesn't give anyone the satisfaction of seeing him break. Anyway, 3 more days of pretending everything's normal. Update 1. Posted 2 weeks later, sorry for the delay, helped my buddy Jake move last weekend, then work had me on doubles. Plus I needed time to process because Friday went completely sideways. I arranged dinner at home with Kendra, told her we needed to talk about us. She got home around 8 p.m., said she'd been at a team happy hour. Pi confirmed she'd been at Trevor's condo until 7:30. I made her favorite pasta, needed her relaxed. We ate in silence mostly. She kept checking her phone. I watched her, thinking about 11 years at this table. All that time invested in someone already halfway out the door. After dinner, I poured wine. Then just said it. I know about Trevor. 5 seconds of silence felt like 5 minutes. Her face went through it all, confusion, realization, panic, then defense. Not guilt, defense. How long, she finally asked. Not I'm sorry, just how long? 3 weeks. I wanted to be sure before destroying our marriage over suspicion. She laughed, actually laughed. Destroying our marriage, Cole, you destroyed it years ago. You married your job, I needed someone who actually saw me. There it was, the justification. I didn't take the bait, just stayed calm. I'll make this easy, I've filed for divorce. 50-50 split, I keep the house. Her face changed. She'd expected a fight, expected me to yell, beg, to give her the drama that would justify everything. You already filed without talking to me. We're talking now. You're unbelievable. You can't even fight for us. This is exactly why I cued her off. Why you what? Slept with a married developer, she flinched. Don't make me the villain. You were gone, emotionally gone. When did you try to talk to me about it then? Before or after the Fairmont? Before or after lying about work dinners? She grabbed her purse. I can't do this. I'm staying at Liz's. Take your time. Locks change tomorrow. Your stuff will be in the garage. She stared like she didn't recognize me. Good, I didn't recognize her either. After she left, I sat at that table for an hour, didn't move, just sat with wine I didn't want, wondering if I should feel victorious. I felt empty, but empty beat whatever I'd been feeling for 3 weeks. My attorney called Saturday. She wants to negotiate, asking for the house. I laughed. Answer is no. Kendra called 17 times that weekend. I didn't answer, texted, we need to talk. You can't shut me out, I responded once, all communication through attorneys. Then she tried different tactics. I never meant to hurt you, I do love you, I just needed something you couldn't give. I stared at that text. Part of me wanted to respond with something cutting, but what's the point? She'd twist it, so I didn't respond. Work gossip started Monday. Jennifer texted, heard through the grapevine, I'm sorry. I appreciated it but hated it was already spreading. Ryan came over with pizza and beer. Clean break, no drama, that's how you handle it. But he didn't get it. There was drama, just internal, nights I couldn't sleep. Mornings I'd make 2 coffees by habit, seeing her clothes still there, feeling sick. This wasn't clean, this was amputation. Tuesday night, couldn't stop thinking about Trevor's wife Paige, about how she probably had no idea, or maybe she did and just accepted it. Found myself on LinkedIn looking at her profile again. Recently updated, freelance writing, consulting on media ethics. Her photo showed intelligence but also exhaustion, someone who'd been through battles. I did something impulsive, sent her a connection request. She accepted within an hour. Cursor blinking in the message box. What was I doing? This woman didn't know me, didn't know about the affair. This was insane, but I thought about her articles, about corruption, truth, power, about how she'd given up that career, just disappeared. Finally typed, I'm an aerospace engineer interested in media ethics and investigative journalism. Saw you're consulting in this area. Would you be open to discussing integrity frameworks in corporate communications? Professional. Vague. True enough, I was interested in ethical failures, just personal ones. She responded next morning, I'd be happy to discuss. Coffee next week. I stared at that message for a full minute. That works, Tuesday. What I didn't tell anyone, not Ryan, Jennifer, my attorney, was what I was really doing. I wasn't planning revenge. I was just curious about the woman married to this man for 19 years. Curious what she knew. Curious if she was like me, performing a marriage while the other person was gone. Kendra texted Wednesday, Trevor and I are taking a break. I want to work on us. Can we talk? Read it 5 times. Taking a break, not ending it. Hedging her bets in case things with Trevor didn't work out. I didn't respond. Thursday, met with my attorney. Timeline, expectations, next steps. Most settle in 3 months. No kids, both employed, should be straightforward. If she contests, then court, but she doesn't have leverage. You have a fair documentation. Fair split proposed. Unless she drags this out for ego, she'll settle. Left feeling something close to peace. Finally moving forward instead of treading water. Tuesday's coffee with Paige was in 4 days. Didn't know what I expected. Didn't know if it would help or hurt. But I kept thinking about that look in her photo. That exhausted, intelligent look. Wondered if she saw the same thing looking at me. Update 2, posted 3 weeks later. This sounds insane, but I need to write it out. I met Paige last Tuesday. Quiet coffee spot near UW campus. Got there first, ordered coffee I didn't want. Spent 5 minutes questioning every decision that led here. Meeting the wife of the guy sleeping with my wife. This was Jerry Springer territory. Then she walked in. Paige wasn't what I expected. Professional, composed, but wary, like bracing for impact from an unknown direction. We shook hands. She ordered tea, made small talk. Then she looked at me directly. You're not really interested in media ethics consulting, are you? Stomach dropped. What makes you say that? I'm an investigative journalist, or was. You have that look people get when they want information, not conversation. What's this really about? Could have lied. Should have. Instead, I'm recently separated, going through divorce. trying to understand how people disconnect from marriages without warning. You wrote about institutional betrayal, people abusing trust. Thought you might have insight. Not the whole truth, but true enough. She studied me. Interesting way to ask for free therapy. Sorry, I shouldn't have. No, it's fine. She shook her head slightly, just trying to figure out if you're a creep or just bad at social engineering. I laughed. Maybe both. Something shifted, almost a smile. What happened? Told her, not about Trevor. Just that my wife had an affair. I found out she justified it by calling me emotionally unavailable, that I filed for divorce without fighting. Paige listened. Then, my husband has affairs. She said that so matter-of-factly, my chest tightened. I'm sorry. Don't be. I've known for years, multiple women. He thinks I don't know because I don't confront him, but I'm a journalist. I know how to find things. Why stay? Our kids. My kids, they're in college now, mostly inertia. Easier to stay than rebuild at 46. That's bullshit, I said. You're brilliant. You exposed corruption, held powerful people accountable. You can't tell me you're staying because it's easier. Her jaw tightened. I gave up my career for him 15 years ago. He said it was too dangerous, brought too much attention, so I quit. Now I'm just the developer's wife. Someone who used to do something important. You could go back. At 46, out of field 15 years, who'd hire me? Someone smart enough to recognize capability. She looked at me like I'd spoken foreign language. You don't even know me. I read your articles, I know enough. We talked for 2 hours. Heavy topics to lighter ones. She was funny, sharp. Asked about aerospace engineering, actually seemed interested. I asked about consulting. She opened up about finding her way back to journalism. When we were leaving, she said, "This was unexpected, but good." Yeah, same. Can we do this again? I don't have many people I can talk to honestly. Neither do I. Met again Friday, then Tuesday. Conversations got easier. She told me about her kids, Emma at Stanford, Daniel at Columbia, both brilliant. Both barely speaking to Trevor after watching him prioritize business over family. I told her about my mom, my dad leaving, how I learned to solve everything by shutting down instead of feeling. 3 weeks in, I'm thinking about leaving him. Wasn't that surprised, but I asked anyways, what changed? You, quickly added, not like that, but talking to you made me realize I've been lying to myself. Staying isn't inertia, it's cowardice. I'm afraid of being alone, starting over, being the woman who couldn't keep her marriage together. You didn't break your marriage, he did. Maybe, but I enabled it. Another week, 4 more meetings. Conversations stretched to 3-4 hours. Once till the shop closed, then 30 minutes in the parking lot. Thursday, I need to tell you something. Stomach dropped. Okay. I know why you really reached out. Shit. Paige, She held up her hand. Your wife, right? Kendra Brennan, TechCore Solutions Marketing. She's having an affair with my husband. How? I hired a pie after our first coffee. I'm an investigative journalist. You think I won't investigate someone who suddenly wants to meet? Her voice wasn't angry, just tired. Trevor's had 5 affairs in 5 years that I know of. Your wife's just the latest. I'm sorry, I should have been honest. Yes. But I get it. You wanted to see if I knew, if I was complicit like them. Deep breath. I'm not. I know that now. Silence. Then she continued, I want to show you something. Pulled out her laptop, financial records, credit cards, hotel receipts, pie photos, Trevor with different women over years. Young, around Kendra's age. Similar types, ambitious, successful. 5 years of evidence, Paige said. I've been documenting. Originally for divorce. Then realized I was just scared. Collecting evidence gave control while I did nothing. What changed? You asked why I stay. No one's asked in 15 years. Everyone assumes I'm happy being Mrs. Trevor Hastings, but you saw someone who used to be more. You still are. Maybe, ready to find out. She closed the laptop. Trevor's hosting their annual charity gala in 2 weeks. Seattle Art Museum. Kendra's attending as his guest. Blood went cold. He's bringing her publicly. He's arrogant, thinks I don't know or doesn't care. She looked at me directly. I'm filing for divorce next week, and attending that gala with a date, someone respectable, whose presence will make a statement. Who? You, if you're willing. Should have said no. Should have said insane, would blow up spectacularly. What time should I pick you up? She smiled for the first time since I met her. Real smile. 7 and Cole, wear a good suit, we're going to look like we belong. Left with head spinning, was I being stupid, using Paige for revenge, or was she using me? Then 3 days ago, Paige texted me again. I hired my own pie to investigate Trevor thoroughly. We need to talk. I have information. Met yesterday. She had a file. Photos of Trevor with not just Kendra but 3 other women. Currently, ongoing affairs simultaneously. Your wife, Paige said quietly. She doesn't know she's not special. She thinks she's the one. She's one of 4. I sat there looking at systematic betrayal, not just affairs, a pattern, a lifestyle. The gala's Saturday, Paige said. Still in, thought about Kendra. How she justified it, saying I was emotionally unavailable. How she asked to work on us while seeing Trevor. How she probably believed this was real, that Trevor was leaving his wife for her. She had no idea she was just rotation. I'm in, but not for revenge, for truth. These people need to know who they're dealing with. Paige nodded. Then let's show them. And that's where I am. 2 days from attending a charity gala with my soon-to-be ex-wife's affair partner's soon-to-be ex-wife, where we're going to make it clear we know exactly who they are. Ryan thinks I'm insane. My attorney's concerned about optics. Jennifer told me to avoid drama, but I'm not caught in drama. I'm finally controlling my story. For weeks I reacted, finding out, documenting, divorcing. Now I'm acting. Paige isn't revenge. She's someone who deserves to know she's not alone, that she's not crazy, that she doesn't have to perform normalcy for people who stopped caring years ago. Maybe I'm the same for her. Saturday, Seattle Art Museum, 7 o'clock, I'll update after. Final update, posted 2 weeks later. Phone cracked at the gala, just got it fixed. So here the update you guys have been waiting. Saturday, I picked up Paige at 7. She opened the door in a black dress that probably cost more than my car payment. Elegant, composed, completely out of my league. You clean up nice, she said. I own exactly one good suit. I'm wearing all of it. She laughed, loose, genuine. Then we're even. I own exactly one revenge dress. Let's make it count. Drive to Seattle Art Museum was heavy with anticipation. The gala was exactly what you'd expect, Seattle's elite pretending to care about art while networking. Paige knew everyone. People greeted her warmly, asked where Trevor was. He's around. I'm here with a friend. This is Cole Brennan, aerospace engineer at Boeing. The introduction, friend not date, was strategic. Nothing scandalous about attending with a friend while your husband networks. We got drinks, walked through galleries. Made small talk with people whose names I forgot immediately. Trevor found us first. We were looking at some sculpture when I heard Paige. Trevor looked exactly like his photos, expensive suit, practiced smile. Eyes went from Paige to me, confusion registered. Who's this? Cole Brennan. He's an aerospace engineer. We've been having fascinating conversations about institutional ethics and accountability. Cole, this is my husband Trevor. Ex-husband, technically. Trevor extended his hand. I shook it. Aerospace engineering, interesting field. Lots of variables to account for. Small miscalculations can bring down entire structures. Paige's mouth twitched. Trevor scanned the room, eyes landed on someone, expression changed. Kendra, stunning in blue I'd never seen, saw me before Paige, steps faltered. Cole? Kendra, she looked between us. Confusion to panic. What are you doing here? Attending a charity event, supporting the arts. You. Eyes went at Trevor, Trevor's jaw tight. Both realized their secret wasn't secret. You know each other? Kendra asked, looking at Paige. We've been having coffee several times. Cole's a wonderful conversationalist, very honest, refreshing in a world where people lie so comfortably. 4 of us in horrible tableau, people starting to notice. Whispers. Trevor grabbed Paige's arm. We need to talk privately. I removed his hand, gently, firmly. Don't touch her. His face went bright red. Who the hell do you think you are? Kendra's husband, ex-husband as of last Monday. Divorce finalized Tuesday. Kendra's face went white. And Paige also filed for divorce Friday. I continued, actually smiled a little. So we're just 2 single people attending a gala, nothing inappropriate. Small crowd gathered. Attention shifted our direction. Whispers louder. Kendra found her voice. You've been meeting with his wife for weeks. Just well informed. Turns out Paige is excellent at investigation. She found out about your affair approximately 10 seconds after I reached out on LinkedIn. This is ridiculous, Trevor said. Paige, we're leaving. No, we're not together anymore, Trevor. I filed for divorce. My attorney will contact yours Monday. And just so we're clear, I'm taking half, including documentation of your 5 concurrent affairs over 5 years. Kendra wasn't your first, won't be your last. Kendra's face gray. 5. At minimum, Paige said. Could be more. My investigator's still compiling. Trevor's mask cracked. You're both insane. This is harassment. You'll what? Sue us for attending a public event. For getting divorced, for telling the truth. No answer. Kendra grabbed his arm. Tell me she's lying. Tell me I'm not just not here, Trevor hissed. Yes, here, Kendra snapped. Tell me right now, was I the only one? Crowd wasn't pretending anymore. Everyone watching. Trevor looked around, realized he'd lost control, so he did the only thing he could, walked away. Left Kendra standing there, left his reputation in tatters. Left his ex-wife standing next to the man whose wife he'd slept with. Kendra stood frozen, looked at me. You did this on purpose. No, I stopped pretending I didn't know. You orchestrated an affair. I documented it. She walked away in Trevor's direction. Paige let out held breath. That was terrible, perfect. The rest of the gala felt surreal. People approaching, some condolences, some hungry for gossip. Paige handled it with grace. We left around 10, sat in my car in silence. Did we just ruin our reputations? I asked. Maybe, or we just told truth in a room of people who pretend they don't see things. She looked at me. Thank you. It wasn't revenge, just refusing to let them control the story. Still, thank you, drove her home, walked her to door because my mom raised me right. What happens now? Now we handle aftermath. Attorneys, paperwork, explaining why we blew up our lives at a charity gala. She smiled, tired but genuine. I'm strangely okay with that, I smiled back. Me too. That was 2 weeks ago. Trevor's business took hits. 2 major deals fell through when partners questioned his judgment. Name absent from business columns. Kendra reached out twice. Once to say I was cruel, once to ask if we could talk. Didn't respond. Attorney advised against contact, and honestly, there's nothing to say. She made her choices. I made mine. Paige's divorce moving forward. Got 3 consulting contracts with news organizations wanting her investigative expertise. Rebuilding her career at 46, loving it. Us, still have coffee, every Sunday morning. Sometimes talk about divorces, sometimes work. Sometimes just sit in comfortable silence reading the paper. Last Sunday she asked, are people going to think we're together? Probably. Are we? Thought about it. I don't know, I don't think I'm ready, and you're not either. Yeah, but I'm glad you're in my life. Same. That's where we are. 2 people who got betrayed found each other in aftermath. Not together but not apart. Just existing in same space, healing at our own pace, reminding each other we're not crazy. Ryan asked if I regret the gala. I don't. I regret marrying someone who could lie for months, regret not seeing signs, regret a lot, but not standing in that museum next to Paige refusing to perform normalcy for people who'd stopped caring. Kendra texted yesterday, Trevor and I broke up. You were right. Didn't respond. What would I say? Truth is, I don't think about Kendra much anymore. Not with anger, not with longing, just nothing. That feels like progress. Paige published an article last week about power dynamics and institutional betrayal. Went semi-viral in journalism circles. Didn't mention Trevor by name, but everyone in Seattle knew. She texted the link. Felt good to write again. Me. Felt good to read. You're brilliant. Her. Coffee Sunday. Me. Always. No dramatic conclusion. No found new love ending. Just 2 people who got betrayed, handled it their way, slowly rebuilding in the wreckage. Best revenge isn't making someone hurt. It's refusing to let them hurt you anymore. Life's pretty good.